Hey everyone, what's up? So I was watching the videos in my subscription box, and I came across this one made by Media Matters for America. Now, as we all know, whenever Obama does anything above picking his nose, the usual right-wing zealot pundit nut jobs come out saying, because of what Obama did, we're all going to die, we're all doomed, And this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Recently, President Obama has made his second pick to the second nomination for someone to be in the Supreme Court. The first was Sonia Sotomayor, and we all know how the right wing went on that one. And the second nomination is Elana Kagan, who is supposed to succeed Justice Stevens, who has been on the Supreme Court since the 70s or something. And this video was just sort of a little collection of clips with, you know, the various figures like Glenn Beck, just trying to discredit her, and basically, well, because she was picked by Obama, so it must be a bad thing for America. So, and there was just some shit in this that I really had to just try and get it out there and try and stop the lies being spread, you know. So, without further ado, let's get on to the first bit, which is not really much of a lie. That's more the second part, but this is just something I want to clarify a little bit, I guess. So,
It's no surprise they're going to nominate leftist radicals to replace a leftist radical.
now, would this be the same leftist radical, Justice Stevens, he was talking about there, that was nominated by a Republican, Gerald Ford, in the 70s, and who was pro death penalty? You know, he may have gone to more the liberal side as his career progressed, but then surely the same thing, if that could happen, that a conservative could go more liberal, surely a liberal could become more conservative. So they should be all for this, because they could say, hey, if you know, this person may become more conservative, they could be a good ally to us. So they should be all for this person by their fucking twisted logic, and don't even think that maybe just the political framework and the society that we live in now, maybe a liberal person now would have been conservative back then. You know, do they even think about these things? Honestly, right. Well, the second part was about 1:13 in, and this was really the main point that I wanted to get through. So let's start and let's see what they say.
You mean?
In which he said the Constitution as originally drafted was, quote, defective.
What would she change?
Wow.
If she believes that the Constitution is defective, what would she change?
Oh, this is what really pissed me off. First of all, what's all that about? You know, for fuck's sake, just that it does not belong in a serious news a serious news program. But then it was on Fox, so we all know they're about as serious as the fucking monster raving loony party here in the UK. And first off, she did not say that the Constitution was defective. She was writing a piece honouring Thurgood Marshall in 1993, and she was basically he said that the Constitution was defective, and she was sort of agreeing with it. She did not say it herself. Now you may think that's just as bad, but I'm going to disagree there. Thurgood Marshall said that the Constitution as originally drafted and conceived was defective. And you know what? I'm going to fucking agree with him. You know why? Because back then, black people were still seen as 3/5 of a person, okay? Slavery was still going on. When the framers actually drafted the Constitution, when they said we the people, they meant a whole number of free persons. And as we all know, black people sure as hell weren't free back then. So it was defective in the sense that it did not guarantee all Americans the basic human rights that we enjoy today. You know, and even in the U.S. Constitution, Article 5 gives you shows you how the Constitution can be changed, because what these right-wing fucktards don't seem to understand is that it is not a set thing. It is not something that can never be changed, like the fucking Bible that they seem to love so much. It's something that can be changed because the drafters of the Constitution knew that over time and how whenever the USA was going to evolve, that the society was going to evolve, and maybe things in the Constitution weren't going to be as important in 17 oh god, I can't remember when it was drafted, 1787 or something, when it was drafted. Then maybe things 100 years, 200 years later, things wouldn't be as important, or maybe things would need to be changed to reflect the current societal norms. So they knew this back then. They knew it wasn't something that was to be set in stone. I know a lot of right wingers have a problem with this, but it was a document that was meant to evolve, just like everything else in our society, and it's not as if the Constitution has never been changed anyway, because or another way of saying change, amended. So we all know that it can fucking change because there are fucking amendments to the Constitution. The Constitution, since it was originally drafted and conceived, has been changed. The freedom of speech, the freedom, the Second Amendment, the ones that the right-wing gun nuts love so much, the right to keep and bear arms. Would they agree that the original Constitution was defective? They should agree with that, because it didn't have the provision that the people can keep the right to keep and bear arms. It didn't have that in it. So surely they would agree with this as well. The Constitution has been changed. I mean, the right to the right to freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to not incriminate yourself, the right to face your accuser in trial. These things have all been put on, amended after the original Constitution, and they would agree. They love the Second Amendment, so they agree as well that it was defective because it didn't have these things that they love so much in it. Honestly, I mean, I know that the right wingers and fucking the drug-addled fat ass that is Rush Limbaugh don't really think that much outside their own little xenophobic box. But honestly, at least put a little bit of research in it. I mean, if a fucking limey Brit can know this shit, then really, what does that say about them? Anyway, that's all I have to say. I've vented enough. I hope everyone's doing alright.